I built an audience of over 30 million followers across social media without spending a dime on ads. No manager, no marketing team, just content. And in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how I did it and how you can too. I started off with pretty much every disadvantage in the book. I was living in a really small town in Virginia. Not only that, but I was shy, I was awkward, and I didn't feel like I had any particular skills that I was great at. In fact, I was feeling really lost and actually went into a pretty deep depression around the end of high school because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I felt like all my friends had this obvious path of going to college and getting a job or moving to a big city, and I just felt lost. And it was during this time that I found YouTube. So I decided I was just gonna make content about all the things I loved, which was fitness, DJing, snowboarding, and dancing. Now, one of the first pieces of advice you'll get from YouTubers when you start is to niche down and pick a niche. And I actually don't agree with that advice. I think when you're first starting out in content creation, you should experiment. You should see not only what your audience resonates with, but what type of content do you actually like making? Like for me, I loved working out. I was a personal trainer, but after I made a few fitness videos, I realized I didn't really enjoy making that type of content, so that was out. And as I was making snowboarding content, I realized it's really hard to find a videographer that can snowboard and film, so that one's out. So then I was down to dance and music. And keep in mind, I wasn't good at either of these things. I was just filming the process of me getting my first DJ gigs, of me teaching my first dance classes, trying to learn new breakdancing moves. And what happened is my dance videos started to get a little traction. People started asking for more tutorials, asking me to teach in other cities, and I really found a passion for creating dance content. And so it was through this experimental phase, which went on for 4 or 5 months, where I found my product market fit. I found where my passion aligned with an audience that was looking for content, and that's when I decided to go all in on dance videos. Now, my success on YouTube had nothing to do with making dance content or the fact that I was born a dancer. I was a terrible dancer. So it's all about the strategies that I used and how I grew the channel, which will apply to any niche that you're in, no matter what you do on YouTube. So let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do once you find this broad niche is you want to think about different types of videos you can make within that. The first one is tutorials, the second one is performance, and the third one is lifestyle or vlogs. For tutorials, I could be teaching you specific moves, I could be teaching you choreography, I could be teaching you how to dance like a certain artist like Usher or Michael Jackson. Just within the tutorial niche, there's already so many types of content that I can create. Now the second one is performances, and that's quite literally me performing dance choreography. It could be in a studio setting, it could be a music video style thing with lights and cameras, it could be any type of content where you're showing off your skills. And the last one is lifestyle/vlogging, and this is taking your viewer behind the scenes, letting them see what is it like to be a struggling dancer that's trying to learn and get better and is teaching classes and applying for choreography positions and getting turned down, and then you finally get a DM from Jason Derulo that says, hey man, I love your choreography, and he flies you out to LA, and the next thing you know, you're on tour with him and you get to dance with Taylor Swift, and then the Tonight Show hits you up. Like, what is that experience like? And bringing your viewer on that crazy journey. And even if you're just starting out, watching the struggle and someone go through it, but seeing their resilience and their persistence can be just as inspiring as seeing someone who's successful. So don't think that you have to wait until you're doing amazing things to start vlogging or showing behind the scenes. Show behind the scenes in the beginning. You're gonna build that connection really strong with your audience from day one, and those early viewers are gonna be the people that stick with you all the way up until you blow up. Now, how do these three things look in a completely different niche? Well, like I said, it works for anything. So take gardening. That's about as far from dance as you can get. The first one would be tutorials, how I take care of my plants, how I tend to a garden, how I took a plant that was dying and turned it into this plant that's now alive and looks great, right? Before and after. All of those are great tutorials. What is performance like? Well, gardeners don't necessarily put on performances the way dancers do, but performance would be transforming a backyard, right? Showing the before, maybe it's a time lapse, and you brrrr, and boom, the yard is done. That's a performance. I'm showing you my expertise in actual practice. And then for the third one, behind the scenes vlog lifestyle, I'm taking you to the garden center. I'm showing you why I picked this plant over that plant, putting them in the thing. How much did I spend? 500 bucks. Oh my gosh, right? Oh, I have this client that wants me to help them with their yard. I'm taking you along with it, showing the process and the negotiation, all the things that I'm doing that maybe a normal person wouldn't care about. But this viewer that's really passionate about gardening, they're getting so much insight from seeing you in the actual field. So hopefully that gives you some insight to how these three things apply to literally any category, from finance to fitness to food, anything that you do. So now let's get into the actual process of making a video. What makes you go viral? What makes you stand out from other creators on social media? Well, there's 4 key things that I did in my content that I think contributed to my success. And the first one is making scroll stopping hooks. You have 1 second to earn 15 more seconds of a viewer's attention. So you need to study what makes people stop, and you need to get really good at hooks and intros. Things like visuals, captions, pacing, even editing tricks that add energy to those first few seconds of your video are so important. Now, a lot of creators make the mistake of thinking this isn't that important because they'll see famous influencers making videos that are like, hey guys, so today I went to the grocery store, yada, yada, yada. But you have to remember that creator already has a following. People already know their face. So as soon as they see their face, they recognize it and they're down to stay because they've built that rapport with their audience. You as a new creator don't have that luxury. So you have to capture people's attention, get them to stop scrolling or to click on a thumbnail based on your energy, your visual hooks, and your communication skills. A huge mistake that creators make around intros and hooks is over-explaining what you're gonna do. So for instance, on a dance tutorial, if I said, hey guys, so today I'm gonna teach you how to do a moonwalk, and this is a really fun move because I used to love watching Michael Jackson, and so I'm gonna break it boring. Like I already skipped, I'm gone, right? You lost me. Instead, I wanna reimagine what that intro could look like. Michael Jackson is one of the greatest dancers of all time, and my most requested tutorial is a moonwalk. So today I'm gonna teach it to you in under 3 minutes. Let's go, right? And as I'm saying that, I'm showing Michael doing a moonwalk, maybe adding some text or a funny graphic of a glove or something, right? All of that grabs your attention, gets you excited for it. And then the fact that I'm saying I'm gonna teach it to you in this short amount of time, you're like, okay, I'm in, let's go. And so that's how big of an impact having a really strong hook can be. The second thing is to ride the waves, don't fight them. So often people will say, I know that thumbnails are really important, but I just want people to like me for me. Look, in the beginning, if you don't play the game a little bit, you are shooting yourself in the foot. But in the beginning, you need to create some momentum. And to do that, it's easiest to leverage trends and things that are already working on the platform. I'll give you an example from my personal channel. As I moved to LA, I became a professional dancer. I'm choreographing for all these celebrities. And on YouTube, I wanted to show off how good my choreography was, how advanced it was, how good it looked. But the trend on YouTube and what my audience was asking for was actually beginner and intermediate routines. They wanted things that they could watch and actually do. And so I was at this crossroads where I was like, I want to be seen as this really serious, advanced choreographer, but my audience likes this fun, easy stuff. And what I found after a while is that by giving them the fun, easy stuff and building the channel, building my audience, building my momentum, then later on, I was able to give them something advanced. And because they already supported me, they also supported that. Whereas if I had tried to stay in this lane and protect my ego of like, nah, I'm professional, I only do advanced stuff, I would have never been able to connect with this audience. So in the beginning, you want to think of, how do I build community? How do I get the energy flowing in the right direction, the momentum building? And then down the road, you can always pivot slightly to align more with your creative vision. The third one is to take responsibility. Most creators will blame the algorithm for when a video does poorly. And as much as we should all be so confident to think that our content is amazing and it must be the algorithm's fault, these algorithms are really advanced on every platform. And so if you try a format a few times and it's just not hitting, you need to go back to the drawing board and take responsibility and say, how can I make this better? Do I need to improve the title, the thumbnail? Do I need to improve the first 3 seconds? Am I not giving my audience that payoff or that hook? Do I need to change up my energy to help hold the audience through the bulk of the video? Is there not that big payoff at the end, right? Look at every aspect of the video and be your own worst critic. Watch the video and think, would I actually stay for this? Would this actually hold my attention? What I've noticed so often is that the difference between a video that completely flops and a video that potentially goes insanely viral can often be small details. A little bit shorter intro, different wording on the hook, maybe taking out that section where you're seeing the retention drop off. I've even had videos that maybe only got 10 or 20,000 views, took them down, re-edited them, uploaded them again, and got millions. So staying humble in this game and being your own coach is really imperative. And the fourth thing is to consistently provide value. Now, if it's a tutorial video, it's pretty obvious the value you're providing. You're teaching them a skill or a technique, but you want to make sure that you do it in the least amount of time possible. So when I'm creating and editing a tutorial, I'm always thinking, do I really need this element? Do I need this extra explanation? Or can I cut that out and help them learn this skill even faster? If it's a performance video or a lifestyle video, you could be adding value in the sense of inspiration or motivation, or maybe it's just entertainment, making them feel good and have a little bit better day. All these things strengthen your bond with your followers. So you want to ask yourself as you're prepping your video, what's the value I want my viewer to take away from this? All right, so now that you got the basics around what to create and how to structure it, this is the real cheat code. This is the one thing that took me from being 100,000, maybe 500,000 subscriber channel, like a lot of my competitors, to being a now 14 million subscriber channel. One thing, and that is that the goal of every creator should be to find content formats, not one-off viral videos, because one-off viral videos get you momentary success, but what really builds a channel and scales it insanely is formats. So let me give you an example. When I was creating dance videos, I had an idea to make a timed dance challenge, right? So instead of just teaching a dancer a piece and then we do the piece and that's interesting to watch, I said it's gonna be a 10-minute dance challenge. And I'm gonna see if you can learn this piece in 10 minutes. There's gonna be a timer, there's gonna be stress, and at the end of 10 minutes, you have to try it and we'll see if you can do it or not. What happened is not only did the format go viral once, but people fell in love with the idea. So now I can replicate this over and over and over. Different dancer, different song, different choreography. I just change out one or two of the variables and I can rinse and repeat and repeat and repeat. And by doing this on a weekly schedule, I took what was a 2 million view video and I turned it into a 500 million view series over the course of a few years. And this works with literally every niche. You just need to find the format. Another one that I did for short form content is teaching you a move in 30 seconds or less. People love this concept. It feels kind of rushed, but you get a lot of value in a short amount of time. So guess what I've done? I've done over 100 videos of teaching you moves in 30 seconds or less. And guess what? Not only do most of them either perform really well or go viral, but they do it across every channel, from YouTube Shorts to Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels to TikTok, even Twitter and Snapchat. So once you get a format down and you really dial it in, this is the ultimate cheat code for being able to create massive amounts of content and scale your growth. And the biggest pushback I get on this is, aren't people gonna get sick of my content? The truth is, the amount of comments that I get of like, oh, he's just doing the same thing, or you've done this before, bro, it's so small, less than 1% of the comments. Most people are either enjoying the format and keep coming back for it, or they're seeing it for the first time. So don't let that limitation of what are people gonna say or think stop you from repeating formats. Because the truth is, absolute worst case, if you start getting a ton of comments that are saying you're just repeating and this is getting old, then you can always stop it, but push it to that point, because you'll be surprised how many people like the familiarity of a returning format. Now, the last thing I'll leave you with is the mindset that you need to be great on social media. Most creators give up because it gets hard, or they're not seeing the results they expect or that they want. Or maybe they get one video and they start to think they're on this huge trajectory and then they sort of plateau and they get lost in the plateau. You need to fall in love with the journey. And that goes back to the very first thing that I said of experimenting with different types of content and seeing what you actually like making, because that's so important for when times get tough, to enjoy the process. Enjoy getting 1% better. Enjoy dissecting your thumbnails and seeing, why did this one get more clicks? The more you can fall in love with mastering this art of content creation, enjoying the slow, steady growth, knowing that someday you're gonna get that video that really hits if you just keep working on your craft, and enjoying the feeling of building a community, even if it's building slowly. Those are the things that are gonna give you longevity, and that's really what you need to win at this game. I've been creating content for over 15 years. I've seen so many creators come and go, blow up and disappear, and the ones that are successful long-term are almost always the ones that are able to find joy in the process, create consistently and at a high level, but not burn themselves out. So if this video was helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe and let me know down in the comments. I made this channel just to share some of my expertise, my experience, my ups and downs, in hopes that it helps someone out there. So would love to hear from you, and I'll see you on the next video.